All right, so Theatre of Blood, released in 1973. This is a British horror comedy that, in its own way, is kind of almost like a remake of The Abominable Dr. Phibes in terms of like the plot, which we featured that movie a while ago, and it's a movie about a supposedly dead Vincent Price killing people in overly elaborate ways inspired by books. In Phibes, it was the Bible, and in Theatre of Blood, it's Shakespeare. And it makes a lot more sense here. I think this is a much better movie than Phibes. I know I said that way back when, but I said like there's just like a better version of The Abominable Dr. Phibes that exists, and it's Theatre of Blood.
Yeah,
I don't
you
know
did
your
say that, and
thoughts
you're
on
totally
this.
right. You're totally right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is a very entertaining movie. This is like, I don't know why this isn't like a cult classic. I was thinking about this recently. It's like you get, top 5 horror star of all time in Vincent Price, who tends to make a bit more cult classic-y type movies. You know, he's not making, Bride of Frankenstein like an all-time, or Psycho, like some of the all-time greatest horror movies. Like, no, his movies are a little schlockier, a little sillier than that.
Again, Scooby-Doo. He was in Scooby-Doo.
I'll take your word for it. We've got 2 Bond girls. We've got just an outrageously fun premise, some fun like setup for kills and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know why this movie isn't better remembered. I even think Phibes is probably better remembered than this. I think it was Fangoria did something recently about like the 50th anniversary of The Abominable Dr. Phibes, and I'm thinking like I'm marking that down. They better do that for in a couple of years for Theatre of Blood.
The only reason I can think of as to why it isn't as big as Phibes,
is Shakespeare just a little off-putting?
I think it is to a lot of people. I think a lot of people hear Shakespeare and they go, "Oh no, high school English."
Yeah, but it's Shakespeare with Vincent Price. This is the role Vincent Price was born to play.
Oh, absolutely.
I actually looked this up. I was trying to find out because I had always heard Vincent Price described as like a classically trained actor, and 9 times out of 10, what that means is the dude played Shakespeare on stage. I couldn't find any record of it. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. He definitely feels like he should have. Like, he's got the voice, he's got the rhythm, he's got that kind of classic theater type persona.
He would have been doing Shakespeare on stage in like the 40s, right?
Yeah, it would have been like, because he's in movies at least going back to the 40s. Because he's in the film noir classic Laura. He's in the Invisible Man Returns, 1940. So he was acting back then. Yeah, so 30s or 40s probably is when he would have done it if he did it. And to my knowledge, he didn't do any Shakespeare films other than this. And you might say, okay, so he's never done Shakespeare on film. Well, basically all of his dialogue in this movie is stuff Shakespeare wrote, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
And it's great.